If I miss one night of sleep and a meal, I'm a canary. What do you want to know? I'll make shit up for you.
Right.
Just let me sleep and I need a snack.
That's how I'm kind of feeling after staying up till 5 a.m. because of Kodak Black. I got like 5 hours sleep, and in my mind, I have suffered through one of the worst torturous experiences that any human being has ever had.
Wait,
to
how
live through.
How was the conversation with him? Yeah, that's all I need to hear. That was great. That was fucking terrible. You went.
I mean, it was a conversation. It's like with some of these rappers, it's kind of like their fan base is so big that it's like anything is pretty significant.
Yeah.
But for sure, it definitely wasn't the conversation I was hoping to have. Also, I feel like my brain at 3 o'clock in the morning is not really like what it is at, well, it's 1 p.m. right now. Even that seems
why rappers?
That's just the racket I found myself in. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you a big rap?
I've always been a huge rap fan. Yeah, but I did the BMX thing for like forever until finally somehow I cracked through to the hip hop stuff. Yeah, but I was trash as an athlete. Not great.
We had Ryan Williams on the podcast recently.
Shout out to Ryan Williams.
Killer.
Very aware
Great
of
guy.
him, yeah.
Great
But he's
guy.
a park rider.
Yeah, he's a real athlete too. When you look at him, you're like.
But that, okay, BMX, two sides to it. You have like the park riders who are like Olympics. They're basically like gymnasts. They're doing double backflips, triple backflips, all that kind of shit. And then you have like street riders who are more like they go out into the street. You want to find that perfect rail, set of stairs. You're breaking into the water purification center so you can ride some weird transition built into the wall. It's more of like a rebel spirit thing.
You seem to like the extreme, the fringes.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I've always been more comfortable around people like that than I have around people who are not that way. Maybe because I'm a comic, but like, you know, I was talking to these guys. You do a podcast where you interview porn stars and then have sex with them.
This is true. Only plugtalk.com.
Plug Talk.
Only plugtalk.com.
Only
yes.
plugtalk.com.
Yes.
Okay. So that's already extreme. So you go from the streets, riding bikes on the streets,
to banging homeless women.
Yeah, homeless women. It's fascinating. But I get it.
Wait, what part do you get?
I get the idea
wanting
of
to
chasing,
your guest?
No, well, yeah, of course, but chasing, because you've been looking at me with very, very hungry eyes. But
I'm so sleep deprived that to me, I could you, yeah.
Oh, is that what it is? Because they're bedroom eyes, dude. You got.
I could nut on your face, and it would be like just as good as if it was like Pamela Anderson.
Yeah, well, I got that face. There's nothing like a 57-year-old face. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. You like fill in the cracks.
Yeah, I guess.
You like peel it off.
My gum gutters. Yeah. Just have everybody watch it like this.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, but you ever wonder what that psychological profile is about? What draws you to that, and where you're going to go from here?
Yeah, why do I want to press the limits? Because yesterday we also, like, there was a very famous rapper, Pop Smoke, who was basically killed in a home invasion perpetuated by a bunch of like 15, 16-year-old kids from LA. And so one of them did juvenile life. He was basically locked up till he turned 21. And then yesterday we got him on the podcast and got him to tell his story for the first time.
Wow.
So it's like, even within my community, that's going to be a really, really controversial one. Like, why are you platforming somebody who took somebody who was so important out of this world?
I understand why. He was 15. He's 21 now.
Right.
Was he remorseful?
There were moments of remorse, but there were also moments of like, holy this is not like...
He's been destroyed by the system, and...
He's not 100% there, or at least like wasn't 100% aware of like what he should probably say if he wanted to come out of this conversation looking like a good person. But that being said, you know, he's young.
Yeah.
And he did say a lot of the right things, but it was like there was moments that will definitely be clipped more than the more repentant moments in which it's going to appear like he didn't give a So that was a lot, but I felt like it was our responsibility to have that conversation because I know the people want to see that.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's like, you know, you can't, it's almost like being a journalist when you interview, like when Peter Jennings or whoever it was interviewed Saddam Hussein. Well, I want to know how that guy thinks. I want to know what's up. I want to know.
Right.
I'd like to hear what El Chapo has to say about how he became the biggest criminal. I'm friends with Sammy the Bull Gravano.
Really?
And yeah.
How'd you run into him?
Through Patrick Bet-David, who hooked me up with but I was in New York when he was running that whole city, man.
But you didn't do content with him?
I did.
Sammy the Bull?
I did.
You guys did an interview with him?
I have a show. No, I did more than that. I have a show called Best Of. It's like on YouTube. I flew him out to LA. I had dinner with him at my favorite restaurant in Venice. I redid his favorite scene from Black Mass. I redid a scene where he plays Johnny Depp and I play the other guy. We did some acting. But you're talking about the hitman's hitman.
Right.
Killed 22 people. He was a guy who ran the largest crime family in New York, and I remember it so well. He controlled all the construction. Every piece of glass, every piece of concrete that came into New York City, he got a piece of.
Right.
You understand? So I wanted to meet him because, and I've never been into the mafia and stuff, but the way he spoke and the stories he told on his podcast called Our Thing, I was like, this dude's a writer. He's a storyteller, and he was dyslexic. So it was like this, it was almost like this was a samurai who, because he was dyslexic, found the streets and then said, I'm going to be the best at the streets. But I know him well enough now that I can tell you, if he had been a businessman, if he had been a producer, if he had been something like that, he would have been great at that too. He just came up under different circumstances. That's the great tragedy, by the way, of like a kid like this 15-year-old. And I'm sorry, but also in the black community where there's a lot of fatherlessness, which Usher was talking about, BET Awards, and somehow they took it off the air. But Usher was saying we need to start being, he was talking to his community and he said, you can't have this absentee father shit. Right. It takes a lot of guts to say that. But, what happens is sometimes if you don't have a responsible male teaching you how to behave, it's how you waste a lot of potential.
And this kid actually was like very transparent and like seemingly extremely aware of the effect that his dad being in prison throughout his childhood had on him, which...
There you go.
I feel like a lot of kids in his position wouldn't necessarily be attuned to that.
Good for him. I wish him well. I really do.
Yeah, but he made that clear that he had a lot of anger from being extremely young. He was fighting a ton in school, etc. And that picture this scenario: him and his friends run up in this apartment in order to rob this rapper. They don't know anything about him. He ends up killing him in the process of the robbery. The next morning, he's on his phone and he's seeing these like outpouring of heartbroken people. Now, this rapper's from New York too, and we're here in LA. And in LA, especially being from the gang world like him, New York is a million miles away. It might as well be another planet.
Yes.
So he's not even knowing who this dude is, even though he's like the biggest rapper in New York at that time. He's looking at his phone, realizing how many people had been affected by this, and then it takes like, I think he said 4, 5, 6 months before the cops show up and get him. So he's kind of like camped out in the house, wondering if they know, wondering if this is going to come back to get him. Yeah, insane. But it's weird that I presumably am going to face a shitload of backlash for doing that interview, because that interview would be the most normal thing in the world 20 years from now. Because you see everyone involved in the Tupac murder has done podcasts where they talked about it and everything like that, including Keefy D, who is now facing charges for being in the car.
I don't think that you're doing anybody a disservice. You have a kid like that on. Hopefully a younger person watches that. Hopefully a kid sees that as an example and says, I can't fall into this trap. But yeah, man, when you're a young boy especially, and you've had your heart broken, which is what happens when you don't have a father. It just is. Boys lash out, man. Boys fight. Boy, it's very easy to get a boy to pick up a gun and feel significant, because that's so important to men and to boys. I want to feel significant. I want to feel important. Put a gun in my hand, that'll do it right.
And I feel like I always hear more normal type people saying like that it's the craziest thing ever, people killing over colors, or like, why would somebody join a gang? And when you have this conversation with a young person and you realize the way that becomes their identity once they enter into that, and how that offers them protection from all these other people, etc. And you can really put yourself into that situation, especially if you're somebody who doesn't really have a lot of expectations for yourself.
It's incentive structures. Yeah. Incentive structures. If you come from a certain neighborhood and you've got your family intact and there's some money in the house, the incentive structure becomes, let's take this young boy who's got warrior energy, and it's only getting stronger because hormones are running through his body. He's a walking hormone. It's aggression. It's linear. Hungry, tired, angry, horny, right? What do you do with that? Get him into sports. He needs a physical outlet. I'm not speaking for girls. I'm speaking for guys. Boys need a physical outlet. That's why I'm a huge fan of jiu-jitsu and wrestling and boxing and all those contact sports, or any sport in general. Because it just, you learn how tough you are. You learn how tough you're not, which is huge. You learn where you are in the pecking order. You learn how to climb the pecking order. You learn how to learn. You learn about plateaus. All that shit's so important, man.